Now, let's all right, folks. I think we're live here. You don't happen to have a another window of YouTube open or anything, do you? Let's see. Let me make sure it's
Yes,
not me.
maybe so.
Yeah. A little bit of an echo I think I might hear going on.
Okay,
Was it you or me?
I'm not sure, but I
Okay.
turned mine off.
All right.
So,
It's going great. All right, folks. Well, my name's Ziggy. I'm live here with my buddy Country James, and this is going to be our first time meeting each other.
right?
So James, how you doing? Tell everybody everything about you in about 2 words.
In about 2 words, how about three? I love ham radio.
That's right. Okay. And I'm assuming that you're a general class.
Yes, I am.
Okay. And when did you get licensed?
I got my technician license on September 29th, 2023, and my general license on January 17th, 2024.
Excellent. Absolutely excellent. What's your primary mode of operation, James?
So I mostly do HF and I do a lot of POTA, 20 meters. I've currently been using a ICOM 7300.
Right.
I I use Alpha Hextana. It was my first portable antenna. I bought it at Hamcation while I've been working here in Florida. I went to Hamcation and I bought that antenna. I got it on about a 3 foot tripod. I go to the parks. I make a lot of contacts with it.
Real quick, I missed it. What antenna is it?
It's an Alpha Hextana.
The Okay. An Alpha X antenna?
Hex, H E
X.
X,
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Hextana. Yeah, no problem.
Hex, Alpha Hextenna. Let's see what we got going here with the. So it's a 6340 uh kit, if you will. Now, was that the did you get it on sale?
Uh, I don't know. I paid a lot of money for it.
I, s- I s- I see it's on I see it's on sale for about 400.
I think when I bought it at I'm not sure what I paid, but yeah, 400 or something at least. I mean,
How do you like it so far?
well, I mean, I don't have anything to compare it to really. I mean, I started out with a monoband Comet center load monoband antenna on my truck. That's what I started activating POTA with, and then I went to Hamcation and I bought it. Now I do have a MFJ MFED half wave, and I like my Hextena a lot better than that. I mean,
So tell us about this Hextenna. Is it a I see it's got two telescopic whips.
uh-huh.
I see it's got looks like a clamp on ground system.
Yeah, you need those if you want to go past up to 40 meters. You need that clamp on ground system,
Uh,
and you can use it's basic. Essentially, it's a V shape. It's not an inverted V. It's a V shaped dipole. I mean, it's it's telescopic antennas on a little hexagon, uh, 3D printed box. You can run it vertical, or you can run it with the two 17. I think they're 17'9" extendable whips. They're stainless steel whips, and so I mean, it's essentially it's a dipole. You know, I mean, if I want to go 40 meters, then I do have to clamp on some extending wires onto the Corona balls. It comes with those. The uh, the guy Steve is his name that owns Alpha Hextana. I stopped and talked to him several days. I was actually thinking about getting the. Okay, so I don't have that center load there. I think that allows you to go past 40.
are you talking about this device right here?
Right, I don't have that.
You don't have that. So
I have that.
you basically have the two telescopic. See if I can't make it bigger here. You basically have the two telescopic posts. You have this
Sure.
contraption.
That's correct.
Okay, so there's probably some kind of transformer inside of there. There's
There
definitely
is
the room
not.
for it.
There is not. I've taken it apart. There's
Okay.
there. I so one day I was taking my antenna loose or something, and So on the back side of one of these posts that you see up there, I don't know what those are, like the 3/8 post or whatever they are.
Yeah, 3/8 24.
Yeah, so I was taking my antenna off, and I guess I had over tightened it when I installed it. And whenever I was taking it off of that,
You put the
uh,
wrench on it, didn't you?
I heard a little bit of grinding noise, and I stopped and I took it apart and I looked inside, and there's only wires going from those three 3/8 mounts up there into the SO239. There's nothing else in there, only wires.
So on that SO connector, does like the shield side of the SO go to one side and like the radiating element go to the other side?
Yes, it does. And then also the shield side goes to the butterfly there for the counterpoise.
Uh-huh.
And that's if you want to go vertical, you can take one of those whips and put it up on top and run it up there, and then run you a counterpoise.
And basically turns it into a quarter wave.
I mean, you know more about antennas than I do, did you?
I gotcha. And how would you say it performs on the bands that you
I think the
that
very
you'd
first,
use?
I think the very first time I used it, I mean, so I started doing POTA on January 21st with the mono band antenna on my truck. And when I got the Alpha Hextana, I would go to the. I mean, I'm in Florida. I live in Texas. Don't have a lot to do on the weekends besides, I mean, do some chores, whatever. I would go to the park, and I would kind of hang out at the park all day long. I was, I mean, I can say I can easily rack up. I have in one day racked up to 600 contacts. But I did a 5 park row, and I went from park to park. A lot of them were probably repeat contacts, following me. But on any given day, it's very easy for me to, in a 3 or 4 hour period of time, to make 160, 140 contacts, something like that. It seems. I mean, I don't have a lot to compare to it being a new ham, but I mean, all the people that I talk to, and I talk to my Elmers from Florida to Texas, and they tell me I sound great, So I would say it performs well.
That's excellent, man. I'm glad it's working for you. So you were telling me right before we started the stream, you just got off work. What is it that you do?
So I do demolition work, and I run excavators, and I run excavators with multiple different attachments to it. I'll run it with a grapple, a shear, a bucket and thumb, uh, a magnet. I mean, so I do demolition work. Right now, I'm working for a company out of Florida that has been there for 60 years, and they have some old structures that they want undone, and you know, uh,
I like that term you used. They wanted them undone.
that's right. Well, that's
that is the most Florida thing I've ever heard.
okay. Well,
Where
but
are
I'm
you
not.
located? What state are you in?
I am in Florida.
Oh, okay. Well, there it
I live
is.
in Texas, and I live in Texas, but I'm working in Florida. I've been here since December. I came here in December, but so I live in a little small town called Canton, Texas. It's on I-20 in between Tyler and Dallas. And the only thing that we're known for is we have the largest uh, flea market in the United States once a month.
Hot damn.
Yeah. So,
You could make a whole day out of it, couldn't you?
man, if you've ever been to Six Flags in Arlington, it's bigger than Six Flags. So, yeah, you can spend a lot of time there.
I gotcha. Cornbread said, "Who let the hardworking hams out today?"
Right.
Right on. So what radio do you use when you're out and about?
Currently, I've been. So I told you the other night on your live stream. I was broke. I didn't even have a job when I got my tech license, and I went on a gun forum and posted I was willing to trade a firearm for a ham radio, and a guy reached out to me from near Houston, and he had an ICOM 7300. So I traded that F and M 57 for for my I call them 7300, and that's what I use. I've just recently purchased a Yaesu FT710 field, but I haven't learned how to work it yet.
I gotcha. Right on. And what band is let's say your go-to band? Don't tell me 20 meters.
It is my go-to band,
It's
20
his go-to
meters.
band, fellas. You heard it here.
That it is my go-to band, but I mean, sometimes I'll have somebody say, "Hey, will you run over to this band?" Well, because okay, the antenna that I have with the telescopic antennas, it is multi-band, but you have to take it apart and shorten and lengthen the whips on it. So I mean, what I'd have to do if somebody want, I mean, I have done
Oh,
England one time, and he said, "Let's go check out 15 meters." So what I did was I just went and pulled it down, grabbed the tape measure, put it at the manufacturer's specs, threw it up, tuned it up, and talked to the guy on 15 meters. But I will do other bands. I just 20 meters is what I've always gone to.
I've got a buddy in the chat here, John, KC3ZAV. He didn't hear what gun you traded for your 7300. He wanted to clarify.
I traded the F&N 5.7 to 5.3 by 27, 5.3 by 27, 28, 5.3. I can't even remember now. F&N 5.7. Right.
Right on. Is that close? Is that right?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's fine. They do it F&N and then capital F IVE, capital S EVN.
He got it.
Right.
All right. Good deal.
Yeah.
That's for you, John. Right
Right.
on.
Yeah. I'm not really looking at the chat because, well,
I got you,
then I
buddy.
can't then I can't look at the camera because I'm not a professional like you are with a studio. I mean, I'm here in the
Oh,
trailer
it's
park,
work. It's
man.
it's not easy. That's for sure. It's work. 5.7
Yeah. And
by 28.
right.
Were you watching when Jersey Mike and I were talking the other night?
I was.
Did you hear the bit where he traded what did he trade? A pistol for his a
Yeah.
Keltec for a CB radio?
You know, it was funny that I heard that when I got out of CB radio, I pulled my PDL2 beams, my Mako PDL2 beams off of my tower. I had a Mako Brute and a Galaxy 2527 base station. I pulled it all down, man. I had the sheriff's department coming out and talking to me over and over again because back then we had the regular TV,
Yeah.
and I had a lot of people in the neighborhood calling me about bleeding over on Channel 5 in the area that I was in, and that one deputy sheriff come out and told me. He said, "I'm a ham radio operator, and I know what you're doing, and it's against the law." He goes, "It's out of my jurisdiction, but what you're doing is," and I was breaking the law. I mean, I was running an amplifier, and I mean, I was a kid. I was in my 20s, so
Yeah, but you weren't breaking any of his laws.
right, and that's what he said.
Right.
He said, "But if the FCC ever comes and talks to you, you'll regret it for a very long time."
So you had
He,
a dirty radio going into a even dirtier amp.
right, I'm sure it
I
had all the
gotcha.
TV tubes in there instead of actually amplifier tubes.
And what channel and mode did you normally hang out on CB? Did you have like a
Uh,
local group
we
that you
did,
frequented? Yeah.
we did, we all talked on channel 16, but we all would go shoot skib on 26915, which was out of
Way
the
way out.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean that might. I mean I got an inline filter and stuff. And my dad he had called and complained about it, and I got him filters for his TVs and stuff. But it didn't matter. I was still coming through his alarm clock or whatever. I mean,
he's
but
still he's still hanging on to that Westinghouse alarm clock.
but yeah. I mean well, this was in the mid 90s. So but but yeah. I mean it just I got out of it and I looked into ham radio, and back then I think you had to know the code, and I mean all I could do was I could do the no code tech and get on 2 meters, which didn't interest me a lot. And I got my 2 meters, and while I was at home, there's a lot of guys that talk on Simplex. But whenever I came into Florida, man, I could hit about 5 or 6 repeaters right here from the RV park and not get anybody at all. So that's why whenever I got in Florida, I was here from December to January and got my general real quick.
So your local 2 meter repeaters, they're pretty quiet. You said.
They are. I mean, they have their weekly nets, but I mean, other than that, I mean, nobody's here. I have listened to some of the 70 centimeters around in Florida, and I think a lot of new techs will jump on the 70 centimeters as soon as they, get their license and talk. And a lot of people will come back to talk to them. But my setup here at the RV park is I have a FT 2980, and it's only for 2 meters. So I mean, I got the bow thing and the little icon. That little icon I got is also 2 meters. But
You got a mobile in the truck there?
I don't have a mobile in the truck. I mean, I have it in the RV park in the RV, so I keep a mobile in the RV.
No. So you're home, right? This is Sukasa.
Well, I mean, I'm in the RV park. I live in Texas, so
Right. So is this your RV?
sure, yes, it is.
I gotcha. And so you drag it with you?
I do.
I gotcha. Does your company help with all the expenditures of hanging out at the RV park or?
Yeah. I mean, they pay for it and then some. I mean, I get a weekly per diem to be here on the road.
Okay.
Uh, I mean, just right now, currently, my QTH is, I mean, I went and bought me one of the little state park passes. And when I get ready to do a ham radio, I do have an infed half wave set up at the RV park, but I I don't really get on it a lot. Mostly, I mean, I enjoy going and activating parks. I think I've done over 40 parks, over 4,000 contacts since January.
That's excellent, man.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm not one for getting on the radio and doing a bunch of contacts. I guess my the thing that attracts me to ham radio the most is making antennas do stuff that nobody else has accomplished yet. Um,
Right.
like I've said before, I consider my ham radio license more of an antenna testing license.
Sure.
Um, but I was on with To the other day, and we were talking about this G5 RV that I strung up in the test field,
Uh-huh.
and I showed my frequency, and I felt like the DX commander there. Whenever he goes live and he's showing his frequency, I got stomped on, and it was the best feeling in the world. It really was, just to
Sure.
hear all these guys all over the U.S. just scoping me out there for a minute.
Right. Yeah, I talked to a guy in Puerto Rico from Florida one time. He told me he was talking to me on a bicycle wheel.
Pedestrian uh pedestrian bicycle.
I mean, I mean, I don't know if he could hear me good because after I got through talking to him and continuing my activation, he was still coming in there. And
Yeah,
I mean, he didn't have a big booming signal, but I mean, if he was in Puerto Rico and he was talking to me on the bicycle wheel, kudos to him, because I mean, he was hamming hard, right? He hooked up a bicycle wheel and talked to me in Florida from Puerto Rico.
there is a gentleman I've seen on YouTube. He's got a DC generator, I believe, uh, hooked up to a an exercise bike. Have you seen this?
I have.
That's pretty great for him to fire up his radio. He's got to produce some watery dews.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. My wife, when she was young, she had a neighbor. There was two sisters that if they wanted to watch TV, they had to pump the pedals on the exercise bike to generate the power to turn on the TV.
That's pretty great, man.
Yeah.
So, how did you hear about ham radio?
Oh man, that's kind of a long story, but I was looking at a lot of homesteading stuff, and I found some people that were homesteading on a sailboat on YouTube, and I mean, I was like consuming hours and hours of YouTube, and just watching homesteading type stuff. I mean, I did have the CB radio background. I mean, I told you on your live stream the other day, my first cell phone was a CB, you know,
Yeah, you
and
did say that. That was pretty great. I enjoyed that one.
right. So, I mean, as a teenager, I did CB radio and all the way up until my young adult years. But there was an emergency on one of these guys. I mean, these people. I don't know what you know. In RVs they call it boondocking, but I don't know what they call it where they were docking because of bad weather in a spot. You know, in a sailboat, and one of their neighbors he had got the fuel from his stove on him and it burned him. And this guy, he probably had a marine radio, but I was under the impression he was on ham radio. And I immediately turned that off and just started Google searching about ham radio and found out that you could do the testing online and that you know you didn't have to have the Morse code anymore. So I mean I started studying. I probably studied for about 2 months. I would just listen to audio while I was up and down the road. I mean, you know, driving,
Were you
whatever.
listening to somebody's YouTube channel?
I was.
Yeah, who was that?
Uh, that would be Josh
Okay.
Nas,
Yeah.
Ham Radio Crash Course.
Yeah.
He has an excellent chat. I mean, little group of tests for the technician. But I mean, when I got ready to do my general, man, I tried all different avenues and. Uh, I really don't, man. I lucked out when I got my general because I didn't study that hard, and whenever I took my test, I mean, I barely passed it, but I passed it good enough, right?
Uh, it doesn't matter what your score is on Ham Ticket. It's a pass or fail. I'm sure you've heard that one before.
Well,
Um,
I heard that you know the guy that gets the highest grades in the class is a lawyer. He's a lawyer, but so does the guy that gets the lowest grades in the class as long as he graduates.
well, the guy that gets the lowest grade in the class, as the lawyers go, usually ends up being the most wealthiest. But that's just
Okay.
how society works.
Right. I mean, somebody told me one time, you know what the guy that got the lowest grades in class in medical school is called? And I said, what? And they said doctor.
That's
So,
right.
so I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm learning a lot. I mean, I being on the road. I mean, where I'm at here, I consider YouTube and all the guys that I watch to be my Elmers. So, you know, I mean, that smoking ape man, I hit him up on Discord if I have a question. He doesn't have any problem, you know, coming back and helping me out with something. So,
Yeah, no, he's a great guy. I'm really
yeah,
fortunate to have met the Coffee and Ham Radio group. They've really
right,
helped me a lot in multiple ways, not just with ham radio. That's for sure.
sure.
Um, do you work any digital?
I tried FT8 for 4 days.
For 4 days, you tried it.
4 days. I
Okay.
it, I'm a talker, man. I mean, I I couldn't. I mean, I tried it. I just it's not for me. You know. I mean, I don't hold it against anybody that wants to do FTA and make contacts that way. To me, that's great. But I mean, me, I'm a talker. But I am just recently taking an interest in learning CW. So that's something I'm looking at. Uh, I don't know. I listened to them. It's N1JUR live stream one day, and he was talking to a guy from Alaska that had somebody reach out to him and tell him if they got a contact. And I think he said they don't have like counties like we do here in the states, but
I think they
if
have
if it,
providences.
something like that, right? If he was to reach out to that particular gentleman in Alaska, where he was at, he would only on 40 meters. He would be the second person ever to make that contact. And that guy, he said he studied it. He studied, and then he went out on a boat and made his first CW contact. And I'm a little interested in that. I did join the Long Island CW club, and I'm work. It's hard for me. I mean, I work 12 hours a day. It's hard for me to jump on their schedule, you know. But I mean, I try to get on one of their classes once a week, and you know, they say in 6 weeks they'll have you making a contact. I'm probably going to be one of them that's going to be longer than 6 weeks to make a contact on CW. But I mean, I'm trying to recognize my characters right now and learn how to do that. So But this is Alec. I don't know. I don't know. It's a cheap liquor store cigar. Alec Bradley, I think it was. I don't know. You know, it's
Came
like
came
17 bucks at the liquor store.
came from the same place where the beer come from, right?
Right,
That's
right.
right. Yeah, I got the CW bug a couple of months ago, and God bless the man that sat there on my first True Blue CW contact.
Uh,
He roughed it out with me, and like mind you, I'm sitting here looking at a big printout. I got an engineering printer. I've got a large format 12 by 17, and
right.
I put the dits and das up there on the wall, and I'm sitting there just like burning a hole with my eyeballs on the wall, trying to just get through this QSO with this guy. And
Sure.
he, I can't tell you how many times I went dot 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 dot. Like let's start over, right? Because I messed that all up.
I'm denying myself that I'm denying myself the I will not look at the dits and dogs. I'm only listening to it. I mean, I'm only listening to the rhythm and hearing the letter. I've been using Morse Code Ninja on YouTube,
Yeah,
but I don't. I mean, but I have some trouble sometimes hearing some of the dits and the dogs. I mean, the rhythm, but I don't want to look it up. I don't want to look at it.
they say you're either gonna look at it for the rest of your life or you're gonna close your eyes and punch through.
Well, I don't have really any reference on it. I just thought to myself, I don't want to try to learn it the wrong way, really. You know, so I was just like, man, I'm not looking at dits and dolls. I mean, I just I mean, I listen to the Morse Code Ninja, and then I mean they've got I haven't really messed with the Long Island CW Club page, but I mean you can type all the characters in there, or you can go into the specific classes and punch the button and listen to it. Uh, I haven't done that a lot, but I mean, I'm on heavy equipment all day long, so I can throw the AirPod in and just play the Morse code Ninja, and they'll do the alphabet, 20 words per minute or whatever, and I can listen to it probably, you know, I mean, I think about an hour into it. I mean, I'm pretty done with it, but I'm still listening to it because I mean, I'm just sitting there, you know, with my levers doing my work. I'll still listen to it, but at some point in time, I realize it's not doing me any good anymore because I'm kind of burnt out on it. And everybody that I've talked to about the CW says, you know, do 15, 20, 30 minutes at a time, you know, come back to it a little later, do another. But I mean, it's just so easy for me to be on my equipment and hit play. And I do it. I do it on YouTube videos. I mean, I'll hit play and listen to YouTube videos or whatever. But I just find it about an hour or so, sometimes a little more than that. I mean, I'm burnt out on it, you know, and I'll stop and find something else to listen to. I'll listen to somebody's live stream or a video that I might have missed earlier. A lot of these guys will play a video that's past my bedtime here in Florida, so that I mean, old men like me that get up at 5:45 every morning, you know, need to go to bed early.
I got you. So I was talking with KO4PDI the other day, and I was trying to get some people to join me on live stream. And by the way, I forgot to do that. If anybody in the chat wants to jump in, I'm all about it. As long as James is.
Oh yeah.
Um, let me throw the link there right into the chat. There you go, fellas. If anybody wants to hop in here and set the record straight, by all means. Um, what I was talking to KO4PDI about the other day was things that bother him, whether it be uh, antenna manufacturers, radio manufacturers, most importantly, the things that other hams do on the radio, or maybe the things that other hams say or how they operate. Um, James, how long have you been on the air? How many months or weeks have you been on the air?
Well, I believe it or not, I made my first contact from the roof of my house with a Baofeng radio 15 miles from Canton, Texas to Kaufman, Texas. Uh, Sometime in October. So October 2023. And I'm pretty sure I make a lot of mistakes, but typically the only time I ever been told that I'm making mistakes is in a long QSO if I catch somebody on the radio. And I mean, not during photo, people don't tell me I'm making mistakes, but if I have a long QSO, sometimes, somebody that's been on the radio for a long time will tell me, it's like I talked to a gentleman in his 80s one time when I was still a technician on 10 meters, and he said, James, you're a phenomenal operator, but don't say 73s. You know, don't say 73s. And I see, I mean, I watch the live chat and I see people doing it, but I mean, I immediately broke myself from 73s and turned into just 73, but I don't know why. I don't know why, but I mean,
That that can't be your biggest pet peeve. That's just common, common
oh,
ham stuff. There's got to be something else that really gets you. Come on, let it fly.
I've not had, I mean, the only thing that gets me is that 2 meter repeaters are dead, I mean, I talked to the smoking ape one time. He'll tell you, man. I said, I've got three HTs. All three of them are really cheap. I would like to buy me a nice HT, but why do I want to spend a lot of money on a good HT? That I mean, it's only good if I got a buddy, within 5 miles of me. I mean, I just
I mean, shoot, 5 miles is a stretch on an HT though.
well, I mean, maybe 5 miles. I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing out a hypothetical distance
Hmm.
there, but I mean, I know
Round the corner.
they're definitely good for 2 miles. I mean, there's cheap walkie talkies. I mean, family radio service at Walmart that'll get you up to 2 miles. I think. I mean, but hey, there's Mike. Mike, I made a contact with Mike when I was a technician before I even knew he had a YouTube channel. Me and him had a pretty good QSO from Texas to New York. He was probably the first YouTuber that I talked to on ham radio.
Mike, I appreciate you being here with us today, man.
Yeah, thanks for showing up, Mike.
I think the ape likes what's going on over there at John's house. That's commitment.
But yeah, I mean, my pet peeve is clubs with repeaters, and I mean, when I got to Florida, I was staying in Lake City, Florida, and I was driving over here to White Springs, and I would key up my key up my microphone, KJ5 CTS mobile, and I'd drive, 40 minutes to work, and I'd get off work, and I made probably four contacts from January to now. I probably made four contacts on the 2 meter repeaters here in this area. That I
That's
know
pretty dismal.
I know Ham Radio 2.0 has done a lot of videos about the 2 meter repeaters being dead. I mean, I've seen him make a couple of them. There's a there's a guy over in Texas, KB5 MIQ Big Boy. He tells all these people, I hope I didn't say his call sign right because he actually follows my channel and I've been following him since I was a tech. But
Everybody knows who you're talking about when you say big boy.
sure, sure, he does a lot. He tells these other operators if you hear somebody key up on a 2 meter, I mean, go ahead and talk to them. I've talked at home. I've talked to a guy on a repeater, a young kid, over and over again. A young kid. I don't know how old he is, but I mean, I don't want him. He's actually a general, but he'll key up on and he CQs on the repeater too. He'll CQ, 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 and tell his call sign and want to talk to somebody. I key
He's
up.
reaching out with all his heart, ain't he?
Sure, sure, and I mean, I heard somebody the other day on a YouTube channel say, "Hey, I don't know. That's what they told us whenever we, studied for our license." But I mean, yeah, he CQ'd on the repeater, and I mean, he did it a lot. And I, I don't hear anybody answering him, so I'll answer him. I mean, we don't have a lot in common, but we do have ham radio in common. And he wants to have a love for ham radio, and I want him to maintain that love for ham radio. So I'm gonna go ahead and reach out and talk to him.
Absolutely, and bless your heart for getting back to him. I mean, you certainly don't have to.
Right.
Oh boy. I when I got my technician license, and the world of 2 meters opened up to me.
Sure.
I was living in St. Augustine at the time, and my word, my wife's cooking something, and the air drafts right through my shack room, and it's
Smelling great?
driving me up the wall right now. So when I got my 2 meter ticket, um, there was uh there was a point in time where I lived in St. Augustine in Florida, and they had the SARS network, which I believe I keyed up in 70 centimeters. And you've heard of the SARS network,
I
have
have.
you? Okay, so
Sure.
that's a massive
Statewide.
repeater. It's a
Yeah.
repeater
Yeah.
network.
From the Panhandle all the way to Miami, right? That big
It's
old loop.
it's amazing how it works, and it's DOT funded, and I think every state should have one. But
Sure.
I'll digress. And the very first time I ever talked to anybody, after I got my call sign, was a female. The very my very first age my very first I supposed to age up. My very first ham contact was a female. Her name was Nancy. Don't ask me her call. I don't remember, but I told her my call sign, and the last three letters of my call is ZGY, and she said she repeated my call, and she goes ZGY, huh? She goes, well, from now on, your name is Ziggy, and there it was.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that
Oh, you.
stuck.
Yeah. So you asked me about pet peeves or something. I while you were just talking, I just remembered. I learned my phonetic alphabet by operating ham radio. I didn't memorize it before I became a ham. I didn't memorize it when I was a technician. I learned it while I was doing POTA on 20 meters. I mean, I would sit there and key in the letters that they would say it. My pet peeve, uh, still to this day, uh, I'm reading the comment on the screen there. Still to this day, is if somebody gives me their phonetics, like they put their own twist in the phonetics and say something else, I forget the actual phonetic word for that. For I mean, it just I go
They
scatterbrained
side
immediately.
rail you.
Right, and I'll try to call it back, and I'll just go and I'll just go ahead and give it to them how they gave it to me. But I mean, I don't have it. I mean, sometimes I'll try to say the phonetic alphabet, and I don't have it. You know, I mean, I don't have it all. I'll have some of it, but not all of it. But I mean, that's just because I didn't sit down and study the phonetic alphabet. I literally learned it by listening to other ham radio operators. You know, and, I mean, when they say kilo, you know, I'd hit the K, and you know, I mean, because I started out actually putting it in my cell phone, and doing the ham logging on a cell phone was a nightmare for me. I'm an old school guy, man. I don't really do text, and if I do text, I do it slow. But I mean, I've got the iPad now with the keyboard on it, but I still do it like this. I mean, every single letter. You know that I think that in the future I would like to do POTO with a foot pedal where I have both hands available, and then I can do one and one, you know, one finger and another finger, so I can search for the next letter and hit it with that one. Maybe I can upload my logs a little faster.
So, do you always operate with your 73?
I do. I have not taken my FT17 out yet. I'm still doing some research on it and trying to get it set up right. There was a guy in a Discord that helped me set up my ICOM 7300. I've made about half a dozen contacts on my 710,
Yeah,
but I still need to read more into the instructions and make sure that it's sounding pretty good. But yeah, currently that's all I use currently.
I gotcha. So one thing that I do with my boom mic at my shack chair over there
Uh,
is I'm pretty sure I can't remember, but I will actually plug my iambic keys
Uh-huh.
into one of the ports on my 7300, and I can actually, if I press both at the same time, dit and dot at the same time, it'll actually key transmit. So I've got my boom mic, which has a button on it. It's a Heil microphone that's built for the
Sure.
7300, but it's just so much smoother just resting your arm on the desk and just lightly squeezing the iambic paddles just to key up. And so that's what I do when I hang out on 75 meters.
Right.
Yep.
I listened to a lot of 75 meters when I was still a technician, and the MFJ antenna that I have right now, the embed half wave, it just won't. I can't get it to tune up on it. But I think they're talking about your little Barbie mic there.
Actually, you're not going to believe this, but that microphone is actually hooked up, and I can switch over to it, and you might be kind of um, you might be kind of blown out of the water. You're not going to believe this, but let's see here. Let's switch my audio to the little tiny microphone. I think it's this one. Audio check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you hear me?
I hear you. I hear you fine. All right.
Yep, that's the little tiny microphone, people. Does it sound any different?
I mean, yeah, it sounds different. Does it sound bad? Not to me, not at all. But
That's pretty great, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, it has a little different sound to it. But I mean, could you get away with doing YouTube on it? Sure.
Yeah. So I should be back on the other microphone. Is that better?
I mean, either one was great to me. I mean, I'm sitting here talking to you with the AirPods, so I mean, but
Getting behind on the chat here.
I didn't really. I'm glad you're keeping up with that chat, man, because I don't even have my glasses on, and I haven't been looking at it. So, and then, I see there's Sam Weaver there.
Yeah, so
Uh,
Mike's got the same situation that you do, is that he's all appendages involved here. He's got foot pedal, he's got headset, he's got a cell phone in one hand and a mic in the other.
right.
Yep.
That yeah, Mike was. I caught him on a ham alert not too long ago, and man, I just couldn't get him, man. I think he was doing a repair on an antenna and doing some QRP, and I just couldn't make it to him. But I mean, well, I couldn't hear him. I didn't even try to make it to him. I might have been able to make it to him, honestly, but I wouldn't have been able to hear the return. So, but I'm looking forward to that second QSO with Mike. So,
Ape says that his millers are on ice getting ready. So Ape has this ritual, right? Whenever it's about to get down on miller time,
mhm,
is he's got himself a little cooler and he packs it
yeah,
full of ice like he's about to get ready to go, work at the nuke factory or something. And
right.
he ices down his cold beers, and I just think that's pretty great. He must have a really awesome ice machine there, working at the house. Big John says, "Careful tapping on my microphone." Let's see. Turn down the mini mic, and I think turn down the min mic. I think it's good to go. Anyway, I Ape's gonna send it straight to the wall tonight, boys.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm on number three, but they're tall boys, so maybe it's a little more than three.
John says it's been kind of a Friday. He said let's all crack a cold one.
Right.
I'm transcribing this. Um, Jason's concerned about you there, Ape. Don't actually fall down. John says full sin. That's great. So Mike says this weekend is the CW VHF contest. He's going to be out Sunday for POTA 2 and 6 meters. You work any 6 meters?
I've tried. I made attempts to check out 6 meters, but I've never heard any activity on 6 meters. So
I've
I mean,
never not once heard anything on 6 meters, so I'm right there with you. But half of that probably goes with checking 6 meters.
right. I mean, I have checked. I've checked it, and I mean, sometimes I'll get an alert, or I follow the Facebook POTA groups, several of them. I mean, a bunch of different ones, and I mean, sometimes some people say 6 meters are open, but whenever they say that, they're usually FT8 guys, and I mean, but I still go check out 6 meters anyways and see if I mean, I would like to work 6 meters. They call it the magic band, but to me, since I've been doing ham radio, I found 10 meters to be the magic band. And especially since I went from technician to general, it's really magic because you get a lot more bands. So I did do a POTA one day. You asked me if I always do 20 meters. I did a POTA one day, and 20 meters wasn't doing so great, and I went to 10 meters, and I only made 35 contacts, and I was trying to get my kilo at a particular park here in Florida, and I got 35 contacts that day, but I mean, every single one of them was DX, so it was pretty cool to get the 35 DX contacts. All of them across the water.
I uh I have not actually completed any contesting to that level. So you've definitely got me in the smoke trails. I've
Well,
got
POTA is not contesting.
no. I'm talking about you were talking about the DX contacts that you were doing,
Sure, sure.
right? Um, I'm talking about contests in general, like the 13 colonies. I've never done anything like that. I don't have the time.
Me neither. I mean, uh, I give a lot of respect to the hunters, man. The guys that go out and do the hunting. Them guys are the guys that ham harder. I mean, all I got to do is say my call sign, and I'm at this park, and people come flocking. But I mean, whenever I get ready to go hunting, uh, occasionally I do. I go hunting, and it's difficult. I mean, I run 100 watts. I mean that a lot of guys that I know in Texas, man, they run legal limits to do their hunting on their POTA, and every now and then on occasion, I'll be hunting POTA, and I'll catch one of them guys in, and I mean, they're doing their full legal limit on beams or whatever, and I got an Elmer at home, man. That guy, his mobile is just as loud as his QTH rig where he runs a hex beam. His mobile is, I mean, it's insane. I he's
He's
talked to
got
me
three
here.
alternators and some op gauge going.
He's talked to me here, man. He's got his muffler ground. I mean, he's got his truck bonded to the point that everything is grounded, and it's just it's wild. I mean, I don't have anything set up. There is a guy right now here in Florida that has a Tar Heel over in I'm trying to think of, I'm gonna say like Orange County or Orange City or something like that. Over here near Jacksonville, he's got a Tar Heel for like $400, and then he's got the mount that lifts up out of his bed or whatever.
I think I've heard about that.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
got a
they make a bracket that's got a small window motor or something on it, and it raises it up and down.
he's selling them separate. The mount for 400 and the Tar Heel for 400. He has it listed on Craigslist for I think 750.
I
And man,
gotcha.
I want to go get it, but I mean, I have this saying that I need to write down my contacts. I mean, after you say your call sign to me, I need to put it down. You
Right.
know, I mean, I don't necessarily have to log it, but I mean, as a POTA person who primarily does POTA, I need to log it. But I mean, uh, I don't want to run around in my mobile and not give somebody a contact where they might want to contact. So I think that that uploading your logs is important. I upload to POTA when I'm doing POTA and
Hmm.
QRZ.
Yeah.
Uh, I haven't got into the logbooks of the world, but I probably should because a lot of the people that I talk to, they send me QSL cards on the email and let me know that they upload their contacts to logbooks of the world. But all of my digital logs are still there. If I decide later if I want to go to logbook of the world, then I just had to backtrack and upload all them as well. But that
Mike, I gotta run to their side of the house real quick. Why don't you take it away for us for a minute?
Yeah, Mike, jump in here. He said, Mike, was he talking to me? Did he call Country James Mike, or is Mike jumping in here?
Well, if anybody else wants to jump in, they're more than welcome to. But I'm just gonna run over to the other side of the house real quick. The wife needs something. I'll be right back. Take it away.
All righty. He called me Mike. Wow. Let's see. I don't know what to do. But, look at the context here. Mike's not jumping in. That and he has been posting the stream yard here, so somebody could jump in if they want to. I have not been following up with questions, but I could look and see what's commitment. Smoking eight, Yukon Jack for 6 hours. Gonna sit it out. That is commitment, John. I'm just gonna go through the questions here. I don't know how to take over. I don't know how to take over Ziggy's live stream. Somebody help me out here. Ziggy needs a cold one and a wingman. I don't know. I got my cold one sitting right next to me. Somebody had earlier asked me what Alec Bradley cigar I was smoking. Man, I don't know. I studied the cigars for a little while. I'm not really a cigar guy. I'm actually a cigarette man, and I knew I was going to do this POTA, and cigarettes are not really. I mean, POTA, the live stream, and cigarettes aren't really acceptable, so I needed something to smoke on. But show it on camera, John. I took the thing off, man. I lit the thing up in my truck on my way home from work. The band is out of in the truck. It was John. Said show it on camera. I'm having trouble with the reversal effect on. I don't know. It tastes pretty good, John. It's a good tasting cigar. Alec Bradley. I picked it up at the beer store or the liquor store when I bought my beer, but it doesn't stay lit very well. I think what Ziggy said when he said he was going to go to the other side of the house because the wife needed him. He needed to go grab him something to eat real quick.
Oh man, you guarantee I took a bite out of the
See that?
what she was cooking on. John said, "This is why I do digital. I suck at writing."
That
Cornbread, the magic man on the magic band. I'm not counting contact. Did you already go through these already? I'm not counting
I
contacts for any reason, am
no.
I?
I mean, yeah, some and some no. His drivers do 100 watts.
Mm-hmm. John's real concerned about your cigar status there.
Yeah,
Mike's rooting for right.
yeah. Well, I told him I don't know how to take over your live stream, so I just went to see if I seen anything you missed on the chats. I,
Nope, nope. You did it. You took over the Ziggy live stream.
that
Ziggy needs a
yeah,
cold one. I did, to be honest with you,
that's what Ape says. Ziggy needs a cold one.
and a
Uh,
wingman. James is my wingman.
I I think that was an insult to me that you needed a wingman.
Do what now?
I think I felt insulted when I read. I didn't even comment on that comment. I was like, you needed a cold one and a wingman. I was like, I thought I was your wingman tonight, man.
I think I've lost context here on what we're.
James, tell us about what antenna you want to try next. Uh, I don't know.
The wingman.
I really want to build my coffee and ham radio antenna, but I'm gonna Frankenstein it, and I want to do a video on it, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna do a video on it. I'm gonna keep it in the hard drive. Then I'm gonna activate with that Apollo coffee and ham radio antenna. That would be the next antenna I plan on trying next. I do have a, a spider bean pole. I'm not sure 30 foot. I'm not sure which one it is. What's the status of my smoke? He's still asking that, or is that new?
No, that's a little bit back. That's
He
quite a
told me
few
to show
back
it on
actually.
camera, but I took the label off. I bought this on the way in here, and
Yeah.
I'm not a cigar smoker. I'm a cigarette smoker, but I mean that's not good. I just decided I seen plenty of people on YouTube, ham radio channels smoking cigars, so I was like,
Yeah.
man, and I know Big Jim, Big Jim, I've heard him on the end of several live streams saying, "Hey, I gotta go. I gotta get a cigarette." So apparently, it's taboo to smoke a cigarette on YouTube. So,
All right, so just to be clear here, because I don't want to leave my thoughts hanging here. You said that you took offense to somebody in chat saying that, like
oh, it's a joke.
not something I said, right?
No, it's a joke. No, no, no. I
Okay.
mean, uh, somebody said that you needed to get a cold one, and somebody replied after that, and a new wingman or something. I don't know. It was a joke.
No,
It's a
no.
joke. No, I'm not very easily offended at all. Not at all.
Okay. All right. Just making sure I didn't
No,
say something I wasn't supposed to.
no. I was just saying. I jumped over that comment. I didn't read it. It was just a joke. I mean, but I was like, okay, I'm not being a very good wingman. Just don't frank it. I fixed about 27 power supplies for my brother. My brother is in a cable electronics industry, and I fixed 27 power supplies for him professionally. And he checked out my solder and then said, "Have you ever soldered before?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "Well, it looks like you have." So I don't think I'll frank it, but thank you, Ape. Don't frank it. But
So
I'm gonna
I'll.
Frankenstein it. I'm gonna Frankenstein it though.
That's right.
I'm
So
gonna go ahead.
during the day, what I do to make money, um, is I work with my best friend of 16 years at a unair conditioned auto garage
Uh huh.
that his father has been renting for the past 22 years.
Uh huh.
And let me tell you, there is nothing greater than working a 2.5 man operation with your best friend.
Sure.
And we get to work on our own race cars. We get to work on our own vehicles. We get to um, there's a lot to be said and not much ever said about having the ability to maintenance your own vehicle, and just
Right.
even having the time or the tools or hell even a lift to do such a thing. So I'm pretty
Right.
fortunate in that regard. But so so today I wanted to share what I was fighting today. Um, a GMC Arcadia, I want to believe is what this thing was.
I think it's
Um,
Acadia. Acadia.
yeah. So this big pile of trash. Whenever there's a 3 wire connector that goes to the AC compressor. There's ground, there's a 5 volt reference, and then there's a gradient sensor that sends back a variable voltage
Uh huh.
on this pressure switch. Now what happens is water intrudes into this connector and will uh, create a pathway from that 5 volt reference to the ground pin, and GMC and all their wisdom decided that they were going to share this 5 volt reference bus line with all of the cam sensors and the air intake temperature sensor.
Right.
So what happens is the engine doesn't know where the crank versus the cams are in relation, and will throw a hard code and prevent you from cranking up the vehicle because you have a short in your AC compressor connector.
So that
This
makes
is
the
the
AC not work.
this is the world that we're moving towards, people. This person was stranded on the side of the road because of their AC compressor connector. I got it fixed. I lopped that thing off. I got a new aftermarket pigtail and had to do a solder job about 2.5 feet deep down into this engine bay, and got it done. Just another day
What,
over there at
what kind
Long's Auto.
what kind of soldering iron did you use? Were you on the side of the road, or did you tow it
No,
in and
no,
solder it?
they brought it to me at my shop. I only use an 80-watt Weller,
Uh huh.
um, and here at the desk,
That's
when
a
I'm
pistol
doing,
grip,
it's one of
right? 80
these.
watt welder. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So here at the desk, I've got the soldering station that has the potentiometer on it. I also have a variac. I don't use that anymore, but I've got a potentiometer um, to adjust the heat on that. But the biggest mistake people have whenever they're trying to solder is that they don't put enough heat into the material that they're trying to solder. You know, they seem to concentrate on the solder itself and not what they're trying to solder. So yeah, the quicker you can get the heat into something, the quicker you can get it to flow, the quicker you can get out of there and keep the heat from running into everything else. So I'm a
Right.
big fan of a high wattage soldering iron.
Right. So I
The
told you my brother was he has a cable company. It's Analyze Technology. It's near Houston, Texas. He does old analog cable. A lot of companies in smaller towns still use analog cable, and he has a lot of guys that come to him and buy 75 ohm coax for ham radio operators. And Ziggy is a 75 ohm coax man. Then
I just got something in the mail today. Look at this box. You won't believe this. Look at this label that they've put on this box.
uh
Just pretty, right? No, it's some Chinese stuff. Oh, let's crack this open. Let's
so
check
I
out.
know a lot of ham radios are probably really interested in finding. I mean, some of them probably know, but a lot of these ham radio. Okay, I see that you got
I've
a.
got I've got a terrible camera, by the way. Whoa, hey. So that is an F to PL adapter.
Okay, I see it.
Yeah, and it's actually one of the higher quality ones that I've received so far. Um, but these are my go-to. I always
So
have sets of them.
so as a new YouTuber, 75 ohm uh is is something that's your channel name. And I know a lot of hams, a lot of new hams are are eagerly awaiting your video on using 75 ohm coax. I think I'm
Well,
I'm I'm ready to explore. I mean,
I um I did two videos with Coffee and Ham Radio when I first discovered the magic of 75 ohm.
right?
And I've actually got some smart people graphs and stuff
Uh-huh.
um, that I posted. So if you want to check those videos out, go over to the Coffee and Ham Radio's channel, and I think it was Live with Ziggy, the Scourge of 80 Meters was one of them, and
Right.
I forget what the other one was, but that's when I discovered basically a new style of antenna, just using the same fundamental 40 meter infed, and then I fed it with 75 ohm coax.
Sure.
And I made that feeder line the exact same length plus counterpoise of the antenna itself, so around 66 feet or whatever. And what ended up happening is because the 75 ohm that I had at the time had a 70% shield. The shielding is rated in a percentage.
Right.
You've heard of this. So the coax I was using was not only, the impedance was off, but also the shielding was slightly lossy. And what ended up happening is that the antenna was able to use the feed line in the same way that your G5RV would, where it would come into and out of circuit, when it needed to, if it needed to. And what that enabled me to do was to pull three more bands out of a fundamental 40-meter infed half wave. So
Okay.
I was able to get let's see, well, I'll tell you, everybody knows what we were able to get. Your standard 40-meter fundamental infed half wave is going to get you 40, 20, 15, and 10. I was able to pull out 11, 12, and 30
Right.
out of that. So the only thing that it wouldn't do was 17 meters, um, which is fine, you right? So I mean, just to be able to have a broad swath right there at 10, 11, and 12, I think that was all I could ask for, and anything else beyond that was just a bonus. Um,
The Smoking Ape has 500 feet of 75 on coax for $48.
right. So I was talking to Ape about getting some coax, and he was looking it up at his local ham depot, and 500 feet of coax for $50. I mean, that's practically free, right?
Right.
Um, so he went ahead and ordered a spool, but I have yet to push him over the edge of actually using it in a real world application. I think he's a uh, little, little beside, you know, himself with all the other projects that he's got going on. He's pretty busy, so
I misunderstood. I thought he was trying to sell you 500 feet of 75 on coax. That's
no,
what
no.
I misunderstood.
I convinced him to get some coax, and he's got a coax. Like I've got 500 of these 75 ohm,
Uh-huh.
the compression fittings,
Sure.
and then I think it's totally gangster. I can be out there in the field with some uncrimped stuff going on that I want to hook on, and I'll take my well, no, these are not my tools that I use. But anyway, I'll take my 75 ohm compression crimper, and I'll make it up right there in the field, and
Uh-huh.
I'll just screw on one of these and plug it into the back of my radio. I'm gonna destroy this laptop. I'm gonna plug it in right into the back of my radio with my PL adapter right here.
So, so you're just hooking 75 on coax in the back of your radio and
Y-
to your antenna.
yes, sir.
That's it. So you're using a tuner.
So yeah, so what happens is because everything kind of goes a little wonky, um, it it almost becomes tuner dependent. Now, for the example of the 40 meter, the 8617 model, the fundamentals you didn't have to use a tuner, but the SWR was a little bit higher than expected, which
Right.
is fine because again it covered the entirety of 10, all of 11, and it was capable of pulling 12 in with the built-in tuner to the ICOM 7300.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically you're going to maybe mitigate a little bit of efficiency, but for usability, through the roof.
Right.
But this whole setup and myself and everything was outside in the backfield anyway. So I have a hard time with the argument about efficiency loss because me, myself, and the amplifier and all the RF electricities were already outside. You know
Right.
what I mean? It's got to go somewhere.
So the only thing that I ever seen about 75 on coax, I think that I don't know if anybody watches this guy, but Waters and Stanton, guy over in the UK, he built a 5/8 wave antenna, and I believe he added a resistor or something inside to the 75 on coax to make it 50 ohms.
Right. So
You
there
know,
are impedance transformers that you can buy off the shelf, but every time you go through one of those transformers, you're losing, right? You're
sure.
yeah. So you can if you have to, if because and I say have to, you can because you're forcing yourself to, but you absolutely don't have to. And I'm here to show everybody that you don't have to stick with 50 ohms for a feed
Right.
line. And a prime
Right.
example of this is what is the G5RV? It's fed with, ladder line
Yeah.
that is not 50 ohms.
Keep on talking. I'm gonna hop out of here for a minute.
Yeah, man, I can put you to the side there. He needs a break as well. Folks, we've got a couple people watching. I appreciate everybody that has shown up today. Um, I don't think I saw this one. Mike says I get 50 ohm coax from Canada since it works out to be about 75 ohms after the exchange rate. Oh man! All right, Mike, you win. You win the comment for the day, sir. Bravo, bravo, bravo. And that's pretty great. Big John says he's got some huge stuff, but I'm not sure that you would want to ship it. No, coax gets real heavy real fast, doesn't it? I had somebody give me the opportunity to go pick up some coax, and I was looking at it, and I was pretty sure that I was going to need a spool to wrap this stuff up because we could hardly pick it up off the floor. I think it was like 500 feet of some LMR, and I didn't really need it. I kind of wish that I had taken it now, but it went to another ham, so everything works within the ham radio community. We all I encourage everybody, if you're not using it, you need to pass it around because there's some poor kid out there that would love to have 50 feet of your scrap RG8, just to hook up his antenna for the very first time. So don't sit and hoard on your stuff. If you can pass it around to community members or other Elmers that are doing their part in training these young hams and getting their inspirations corrected. Y'all better there?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I
I'm good.
gotcha.
Yeah. So the very first club I told you about, getting on the roof of the house and talking to my neighbor on a balcony. Then the next day I went to my local ham radio club, my amateur radio club, and I ended up getting a donated. I got my membership donated to me for the club that day, and later I
Oh,
got
that's right. I remember that. Yeah.
and later somebody come up and said, "What kind of antenna are you talking to?" And I was like, "Man, all I got is a Baofeng," and a guy brought me a J pole, a copper J pole, and
Well, wasn't that nice of
I
them?
mean, yeah, and a week or two later, I ended up on a Comet ground plane 2 meter antenna. So yeah, I mean, what you talk about donating and stuff, definitely encourage these new hams and encourage them to get their general because I'm afraid they're going to be disappointed with the 2 meter band.
Well,
You
don't
know,
be like me and stay a technician for years and years and years and say, "Oh, I don't need HF. What do I need that for? I've got, you know, my trusty Fangadoo here, and I've got the
sure.
local repeater. What else do I need?" Boy, how naive I was.
I mean, there's a lot of guys that say, get your 2 meter, and then get you a bow thing, and I mean, I'm really not all in with that. I mean, I say get your meter and try out 10 meters, which right now here lately when I've checked out 10 meters, it's not been so great, but
No, hadn't.
so I mean, try out 10 meters and then keep
I'm sure
studying.
you're like me. You check out 11 first.
I actually don't have a CB radio.
You don't.
No,
I thought you had a 7300.
I do. Okay, I don't have. I can listen to. I can
That's
listen to
right.
a little.
That's right. We can listen to it. That's right.
Yeah. But
That's funny.
so I got a question for you, man. Bro,
Yeah, man.
do you even POTA?
I've never not once poded. No, sir.
Well, I mean, when you went live streaming with TO and you said it felt pretty good whenever you were testing out an antenna.
Oh well, I'm in my back field.
Right,
I'm having my own parks on the air on my own property. Well, we'll call it properties on the air.
right. But you said you were live streaming with TO, is that right?
Hmm.
And you, I mean,
I was on his channel.
right. And so you were live and you were doing testing.
Right, and that's my main mode of operation. Whenever I get done building something here, in my what I call my roid room,
Right,
um, my toroid room, um, I actually, I have a trunk line of LMR 400 all the way to the backfield, of 50 ohm, and I also have another trunk line of 75 ohm.
right.
Um, the problem with 75 ohm is that it's length dependent, right? Whereas our 50 ohm would not be. So transformation happens kind of like, this, the longer
Sure.
that and depending on where you cut it, you might be at the high or the low point of the impedance for that particular frequency, which brings me to my next topic. John, KC3ZAV, he says, Ziggy, if you do the math for the wire length for the 75 ohm, with standard transformers, will build them. And I appreciate that, John. I want to talk to you more about that. The only thing that I can think of is that what we're talking about here, with using mismatched feeder lines, is that they're frequency dependent. So if you were to change bands, everything would pretty much just go out the window. So maybe this is something that we'll have to investigate a little bit further down the line. But I kind of want to keep things as simple as possible, and having an impedance transformer, before and after the feed line, I think kind of almost defeats the purpose of what I'm after here. I'm trying to show people that you can take any antenna, you can make some slight modifications that you probably haven't thought about yet. This is just the way that I look at things, and so like with my fat bottom girl antenna,
That
it's a
bottom
bog standard, um 80 meter fundamental infed half wave. And what I've done with it is that I've slightly impedance matched that transformer to work well with the 75 ohm feeder, which enabled me to operate the entirety of the 80 meter band on an infed half wave, which is unheard of. So I'm trying to keep this as low budget as possible, and as friendly as possible to our younger hams here, and to show everybody that you don't have to cringe at 75 ohm coax. In fact, Ape was talking about, he looked up some specs on the cabling that I was using, and the performance is actually very impressive. It almost rivals some of the coax that we use in the ham radio world.
the smoking ape is just about one of the smartest ham radio guys I know. He's very technical on doing this ham radio stuff. Did you freeze up? Okay. No, you didn't. But yeah, I mean, when I a lot of times I watch the Smoking Ape, I want to learn this stuff, but I watch him and I'm like, huh? I mean, but I mean, he's definitely got the knowledge on the antennas. I mean, everybody on Coffee and Ham Radio show says that he extensively reads books on antennas, and he does. So, so I
Oh,
mean,
Ape is very educated with the words of the English.
sure.
Yeah,
So,
he's a smart fella. That's for damn
so
sure.
the thing I was getting at with the POTA is,
That's right.
you said you had a good feeling whenever you were on To's show. Yeah, he told me that once before. He just makes it up.
He
He's told
does.
me that before. When you were doing the live stream with To, and you were calling out. You shared your frequency, I guess, on the live stream,
Yeah.
and you got that call back where you were like a DX station, right? I
Yeah, I
mean,
was
you were
getting piled on. Yeah.
so you were getting a pile up, and you said you kind of like that. Well, every single photo I've ever done has been like that, and I think I'm about an hour and 45 minutes from you here in White Springs to where you're at. So if you ever
Okay.
want to do a photo, man, just I mean, just make the contact and say, hey, let's go do a photo. But
Oh no, no, no! You've said it, so you've written it in stone and you've signed it with blood, James. We're gonna do Ziggy's first photo with Country James.
all right, well, you just all you got to do is just. I'm only available to do photos an hour and 45 minutes away from where I'm at in White Springs on weekends. So
I'll meet you halfway.
okay,
That's
well,
right.
that Ziggy should do his first photo. Absolutely.
Yeah, I probably should.
What are the comments saying about this? Let's see some comments about Ziggy doing his first photo.
Yeah, right. So let's see. Earlier, John was talking about harmonics, about the 50 ohms. Again, uh, those are all length and frequency. Don't forget, it's not just length dependent, it's length and frequency. If you change frequency, that length calculation that you were after is out the window. Um and that's exactly how the fat bottom girl antenna that I came up with works, is that the feed line comes in and out. Um Ziggy's busy with kids. The feed line comes in and out when it needs to, or when it wants to, or when it's able to. So what I've discovered by using 75 ohm coax is that um, I'm able to broaden up the resonant points. You know, where an end-fed half wave is, as sharp as vampire teeth when it comes down to its harmonic relation. Um, just by using 75 ohm coax, I've discovered that you can kind of widen out that dip, so it's not quite such of a sharp sawtooth. Um, and that's all that, as ham radio operators, that's all that we could hope for in the first place, is just a couple hundred, maybe 500 kc, of just to fatten it up just a little bit, and then we can operate the whole of almost the entirety of every band that way. And that's what I got away with the with the fat bottom girl design that I'm selling.
So are there particular bands that the 75 ohm coax work better with, or
So don't try to understand it, right?
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
it doesn't work. You can't calculate it, and you will never get it down to a science.
okay,
But I figured out that the best place to start is the 75 ohm coax needs to be the same length overall, as your antenna, so that it could, if it wanted to, even though you've got an end-fed transformer here and you've got a wire running out over there, it still has the potential to run that way on the feed line and use it, more or less as a crude dipole in conjunction with that infed transformation. So therefore, it's going to have its harmonic dip, and then it's going to fatten that dip up on either side because it's coming in and out of circuit with that feed line. This is nothing new. I just kind of stumbled upon it, um, and it works really well. Um, and there's nothing that I love more than making people a little bit uncomfortable with the fact that you're not using 50 ohm coax. Like, there are ham radio operators out in the world that cannot wrap their head around this. They just
sure.
they'll just turn the TV off. Nope, can't do it.
Yeah, I'm completely confused just listening to you about it. So, but I mean, you told me not to think about it, and when I start
No,
thinking
no,
about
you
it, then
you,
I got confused. I
you
mean,
can't. So it's more like a wonderful artifact,
sure.
if you know what I mean, right? You get unexpected results, And since the antenna is pretty close to harmonically tuned where we want it in the first place, um, the side effects can't be all that bad. And in fact, more often than not, they are favorable.
Okay. So
Yep.
do you have a specific like 75 ohm coax that you like, or
So I like, excuse me, I like,
I turned the tables on you and I started interviewing you. You started out interviewing me. Now I've turned the tables on you.
well, I mean, that's how ping pong works.
Sure.
So hold on one second. I'm about to, yeah. All right. So what was the question?
If you have a specific like type of
Oh, the
75
type of
ohm
coax. The coax that I have the most of that was given to me is Belden brand, and it is a double shield aluminum braid at 70% shielding.
coax.
So
Okay.
it's kind of crazy because we go out as ham radio operators to our little hamventions or whatever, and 50 ohms is 50 ohms is 50 ohms. These is it going to be some LMR 400 or some 213 or some RG8X? It doesn't. We don't think about these things.
Right.
It's just 50 ohm coax.
Right.
Just send it. Now when you start playing with 75 ohm coax, you've got double shield, you've got triple shield, you've got quad shield, you've got aluminum braid, you've got copper braid, you've got lubricated dielectric, non-lubricated dielectric, and I feel like I'm going on a Bubba Gump raid here, um,
Right.
but um, for what I'm doing, you don't want the quad shield stuff. You want to be a little bit lossy. So so fortunately, the very first coax I started messing around with was pretty inexpensive, and it was only double shield,
Sure.
aluminum braid at 70% shielding, and it gave me the most wonderful results with my antennas. And here's another thing too, right? So when you go to use your internal um, tuner on your radio,
Uh-huh.
it sees the antenna completely different than what your antenna analyzer sees through that coax, because there's actually power behind it. It probably as well as I do, is that power changes everything. Um, the more power you add, the more flyback you're going to get.
I actually don't know that because I've
Oh,
never gone
okay,
past my 2 meter radio is 80 watts and
right.
my other radio goes no more than 100 watts. So
I got you.
I haven't experienced using power yet, but so do you use 75 ohm for your 2 meter and 70 centimeter as well?
I do. I have a LMR 400 at 70 feet for my 2 meter, but that's on a separate radio. That's actually my node. I haven't actually gotten on a 2 meter in a long time since I got my HF ticket.
Okay.
Um, yeah, but I have a Yaesu node, or a Wires X node that I run here from the house sometimes. But the weather here in Florida, it's that time of the year where it's just lightning every other,
Oh yeah, every
15
day.
minutes. So
Sure.
so my 2 meter node is unplugged and uh, completely not installed at the moment.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. So
uh,
I've been here in Florida this last week. We've actually had 17 hours of lightning shutdowns at
oh
work. We have booms up in the air, and I mean, I guess I'm hour and 45 minutes northwest of you, I think, and here in White
yeah,
Springs, and so yeah, I mean, every day, I mean, we have one lightning strike is 30 minutes, so all week
that's right.
long, 12 hours and something, I think, of shutdowns for lightning. We actually got out of work today at I don't know, about 4:50, and I was supposed to get off at 5:30. So
That's right. You still get paid for the full day, don't you?
I do, yeah, I do.
Okay, so Mike says he uses 100 feet of RG 174 and his swerves are always flat. Well, that's great, man. But what is that? What's at the end of that? 100 foot of RG 174 is obviously my next question. John, OWC 75 ohm cable with a metal one piece shield and a copper ground that runs like a ground strap and does not surround the coax. I know what you're talking about. That shield that you're talking about, that's just, a very thin piece of aluminum foil. Um, but with the copper ground that runs like a ground strap and does not oh, okay. So that what you're talking about, John, is that's actually called messenger line. And so messenger line is just coax with a suspension mechanism built off to the side of the insulator. And so that's for when you hang it for long distances up in the air, you actually take the tension off the coax and you put it onto that wire. James, we're about a half hour into overtime, man. I know you got stuff to do and
I
beer
don't
to
have
drink.
anything to do, but I got beer to drink. I do.
That's right. That's right.
So you have my information. I mean, some of my information. So you get ready. Ziggy's first photo.
Oh, it's gonna happen. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it
We
live
we
too.
we can make it happen tomorrow. Cause
Tomorrow,
I got or Sunday. I got
tomorrow
nothing to
or
do.
Sunday, huh?
But I mean, we could plan it out.
Let's
However you want to do it.
we got to plan it out because it's got to be a day where I got no kids because I got kids
Sure,
tomorrow. Yeah.
sure. Yeah, I have the luxury of all of my kids are over 21. So, but all of my kids that are over 21 still live at home. So that but I'm in Florida and they're in Texas, so I don't have to maintain those kids. But hey, I appreciate you having me on the show, and all you got to do is you got some of my information, so we have a way to contact each other. You want to do a POTA, man? We'll do a POTA.
We're gonna do a Poto Live,
I
James.
I would enjoy it. Don't
And
make it too long.
I'm gonna bring some 75 ohm with me, and
Sure.
I'm gonna completely turn everything about what you think about ham radio upside down and on its head.
I definitely think you should bring that fat bottom girl, man.
Oh yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
If you want to throw up a fundamental 80 out in a park somewhere, we can do that. But
Well, I don't
I
even know
was
what you just said, honestly, but
well, I mean, we got to figure out where if you want me to bring a fat bottom girl, that thing's about 140 feet long. So I was
okay.
thinking about
Well,
my smaller version,
I'll bring the Hextana anyways because it stays in the truck, and
and
and I'll let
I'll
you check it out.
bring the 8617 for you, and
Sure.
yep, and I'll do that.
So yeah, I appreciate you having me on your live stream today, man.
James, man, I want to really appreciate it. I want to really appreciate you for coming on, man. It was last minute notice, and I think we knocked it out of the park. And I
I
hope to
I
do it
wa-
again with you, brother.
hey, I want you to really appreciate me coming onto your show too. But
We
yeah, no,
got beer to drink, everybody.
hey, we got beer to drink. Yeah. So I enjoyed it, man. Had a good time. Thanks
I'll
for
definitely,
all the viewers
I'll
that
definitely have you on again in the future, James. Man, go kick it and chill out for us, and
sure will.
we'll catch up with you next time.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right. Push that
See ya.
button, man.
I'm pushing it right now.